your host, Lakshmi Sahu, and today we are tackling a topic that's not only important but often misunderstood, like stress, anxiety, and trauma. What are they, how they are different, and how we can manage them? To help us break it all down, I'm so excited to welcome Vishnu Priya VP, the MSc Clinical Psychology, focusing in solution focused and cognitive behavioral therapy. Vishnu Priya, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lakshmi. So I am very glad to be in this platform, MyndWynd, and to be a part of the team, and also to be invited as a podcast, to be invited for the interview. So thank you.
Okay, so let's get started. This term like stress, anxiety, trauma are everywhere. People use them interchangeably, but they are not the same. Can you please help us to understand the key difference between the three: anxiety, stress, or trauma?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to help clarify the difference between stress, anxiety, and trauma. You know that these terms are often used interchangeably, but they have distinct meanings. So, stress is a normal physiological response to a perceived demand, threat, or some bodily things. Okay. So, it's a normal thing actually. And it's like a body's way of saying that, hey, we have got a threat or something like that. So anxiety, on the other hand, is some more complex thing. Like it's a more complex emotional state characterized by feeling of worry, fear, and apprehension. It is like our body's alarm system is stuck in the on position, and it can be really overwhelming also. And trauma, on the other hand, is a emotional and psychological impact of experiencing experiencing or witnessing a distressing event. Okay, so it is our body's way of trying to process and make sense of something that is really different to understand or process. Okay, so these three terms have a distinct meanings actually, but yeah, people actually use them interchangeably. And like when we understand the difference between these three terms, actually we have to start to develop more effective strategies for managing each of them. For example, stress can be manageable by using breathing techniques or some mindfulness exercises and all. While anxiety might require more like therapeutic approaches like cognitive behavioral therapy or mindfulness practices. And for trauma, on the other hand, often requires more specialized approaches like trauma focused therapy or EMDRs. So, yeah, these three are different actually.
Makes a lot of sense. So, could someone be dealing with all three at once, like stress from work, anxiety from the future, and trauma for the past experiences?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not only possible, but it's also quite common for individuals to experience stress, anxiety, and trauma simultaneously. The interconnectedness of these three experiences can create a more complex web of emotions and challenges, actually. So, when someone is dealing with stress from work, anxiety about future, and trauma from past experience, it can be changeably to tease apart from the different threads. Okay, so the stress of daily life can trigger anxiety symptoms like trembling or something like that. And also, like while an unresolved trauma is there, it can exaggerate the both stress and anxiety. Like they are co-occurrence. They can co-occur. So this overlap can lead to a feeling of overwhelming, making it harder to cope with daily life. So when a person is having an unresolved trauma, there are high probability for the person to develop anxiety symptoms in future. So this all these things have to be paid attention at the moment, like whenever they want an attention, they have to be they have to go meet to a therapist, so they have to pay attention for each of them at the time they need.
Okay, okay, okay. Let's talk about how this show up in real life. What are some ways of stress, anxiety, or trauma might, manifest physically or emotionally?
So yeah, those things, stress, anxiety, and trauma can be manifested physically, emotionally, and behaviorally also. So physical symptoms of stress can be like headaches, muscle tensions, fatigue, digestive issues, and some sleep disturbance also. For some example, someone under chronic stress might experience frequent nightmares or stomach problems and all. And anxiety can be like physically manifested by rapid heartbeat, sweating, trembling, shortness of breath. And for instance, someone with social anxiety might experience a racing heart or sweat palms while before when they are before a public presentation or something like that. And trauma can cause physical symptoms like hypervigilance, exaggerated responses, or physical symptoms related to flashbacks of nightmares. Or, for example, like a trauma survivor might experience intense psychological reactions to triggers that remind them of the traumatic event. And so there are also emotional responses like irritability, mood swings, feeling overwhelmed, or difficulty concentrating, things like that. And also, like when a person is experiencing trauma, for instance, a trauma survivor might struggle to connect with others. And they might even experience intense anger and sadness when they are confirmed, or when someone reminds them of the traumatic events. When a person like actually show some kind of empathetic when a person starts some kind of empathetic conversation with a person who had a like traumatic experience or gone through a traumatic event, this kind of behavioral or emotional symptoms might also occur. And there are also behavioral symptoms like avoidance behavior, procrastinations, and they may even start substance abuses also. And there are high probability of being into these situations.
Okay, okay. So, what about misconceptions? What's something people often get wrong when they talking about anxiety or trauma? What do you
So
want to
I
say on this? Yeah.
Yeah, there are actually many myths and misconceptions about all these three terms. So one of the myth is like anxiety is just being about being worried or stressed, and people can simply snap out of it, like normalizing it. Actually, anxiety is a complex emotional state that can be the very disturbance to the like for the person who is experiencing. It's not that easy, and it can disturb their day-to-day life, and it often requires professional help and evidence-based treatments. So, and there are like myths like anxiety is a sign of weakness. So it's not like just a sign of weakness or something. Any person at any time can go through these situations. It doesn't matter to their weakness or strongness like that.
Mm,
So
mm.
anxiety can affect everyone regardless of their strength or resilience. It is common experience that can be triggered by various factors, including genetics, environment, and life events. So,
Okay.
these are one another. And there are many myths related to trauma also. Trauma is something that only affects certain individuals or groups. Doesn't like not like that. Trauma can affect anyone regardless of their background or circumstance. Okay. So it's common experience that it can have long-lasting effects on mental health and well-being. And people
Yeah.
often says like yeah, trauma, like people who have experienced trauma are someone who are broken or damaged. Okay, these are also other myth about trauma. So trauma survivors are resilient individuals who can who have faced extraordinary challenges. So with right support and resources, people can actually get out of this. So it's not like an end. Like being into so traumatic events, not an end. Like when a person get a professional help, they can completely come over from that.
Okay. Okay. So, now let's talk about what people can do. Let's start with stress. What are some healthy ways to cope with everyday swallow stress?
Yeah. So about stress, there are some like everyday techniques that uh, common people can use in their life, like deep breath exercising, focus on slow and deliberate breaths to calm the nervous system, and they can even try mindful breathing, like practicing present moment awareness of breathe to reduce the stress. And like for instance, they can manage, they can do focus on time management, like prioritization of work, like take break down the task into manageable chunks and focus one at a time. so that it won't feel like an overwhelming. So, yeah, this thing can help manage the everyday stress and set realistic goals. Okay, so this is about like be realistic about what we can accomplish in a day. Don't like put many things to do at a day or at a time. So just set some realistic goals and accomplish it and step by step. That won't make you that avoid like overcommitting will be avoided. So and also they can like engage in regular physical activities like some activities that bring them joy like walking, running, or doing a yoga or something like that. And they can even try stretching and relaxation techniques like which can be incorporated into stretching exercise to release tension and promote relaxation. And people can start focusing on self-care methods like getting enough sleep, healthy eating, and like doing something to focus on their serotonin boost, like do something that makes them happy. Like we have to focus on these things to make us the serotonin boost happening in us. And with the professional help they can try like mindfulness meditations or progressive muscle relaxation techniques like JPMRs and all. With that professional help they can do seek for that.
Okay. Even does it cross the line from the just worry, that worry word, into something we should get help for?
Yeah. So yeah, anxiety can be a normal response to stress or uncertainty, but yeah, it can become a concern when it interfere to the daily life of the individual. Like here, like I will be addressing some red flags. Okay, so excessive worry, like worry that is persistent, pervasive, and difficult to control, and when it interferes to the daily life task, like anxiety impacting on relationship, work, or daily activities when they start showing physical symptoms like such as rapid heartbeat, sweating, or trembling. And when a person started like avoidance behavior, like avoiding the situations or activities which may induce anxiety to the person. So this or when it completely started impacting on the mental health, like anxiety can be contribute to feeling of hopelessness, depression, or suicidal thoughts. So when this symptoms, like when this red flags uh, when we like my so the red flags, one person has to come like seek professional help. Like anxiety is persistent, but like when it lasts for months, weeks, or like many years, like and when it get to a point when it reaches to a point which is much severe, or like when the self help strategies are not working. So when a person get an anxiety and when they start doing some self-help methods like we said before, like it's more about stress management techniques, but still when a person start to do some kind of self-help strategies, but when it's not completely like when it is not making any change to them, so at this time they have to like completely start go to seek professional help for this.
Okay, okay. And what about trauma? Especially the kind people might not even realize they are carrying so much. How does healing work? What's the journey of like?
Yeah. So in case of trauma healing, healing from trauma like involves acknowledging its impact and working through its safe side, like a supportive environment. The journey can vary depending on the individual's experience and their needs. So there are some approaches that like therapeutic approaches to deal with a person in trauma, like trauma informed care therapy, which when a therapist works in a person to understand the traumatic complexities, and according to that we will plan the sessions and all. And also cognitive behavioral therapy also work in this case, like addressing the thought pattern and behaviors associated with the trauma, so that we can like stop or reduce the symptoms of the negative thought or thought patterns and behavior according to the trauma. And also there are some somatics works like somatic experiencing, focusing on body sensation to process the trauma. And also there are some mindfulness based approaches like cultivating the awareness of the present moment, like to make the person more aware of the present, and to make the person be able to focus more on the present, like mindfulness, like be in the present things. And also there are some specialized therapies like eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy, EMDR. So there's processing traumatic memories through some bilateral stimulations and all. And there are some other modalities like trauma focused CBT and narrative exposure therapy, or some creative therapies can be help useful to manage the trauma in a person. So the key aspect in this is like the safety and trust, like to establish a safety and trusting relationship with the therapist. So that is the initial journey. So the therapist have to make ensure a safety and trusting space to the person, so that the person can be open up and so the initially we have to build a trust and trusty relationship with the client. So these are
Absolutely,
the
absolutely correct. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, yes. Continue.
So these are the things we have to focus on. And like yeah, this journey goes like so initial stage, like I said, like the trust building, safety, establishing safety environment, and assessing the needs, which goes to processing the trauma, like working through the traumatic experience, emotions, and memories. And later, like it will lead to the journey, like integrating and healing, like integrating new aspects, coping strategies, and sense of self. So healing trauma is unique for individual process, and also working with a qualified therapist can help an individual to develop a personalized plan and navigate the journey.
Okay, okay. Beautifully said and explained. I know our listener love practical takeaways. Are there any simple exercise or grounding techniques that you recommended for someone who is feeling overwhelmed?
So yeah, there are techniques like box breathing. Box breathing is like inhale for 4 seconds and hold your breath for 4 seconds, and slowly exhale for 4 seconds and breathe again for 4 seconds. Like a box breathing, squat breathing technique. It's like I said, like focus on the breathe. Like for 4 seconds, we have to inhale and we have to hold it for 4 seconds and exhale for 4 seconds, and again we have to like we have to feel that emptiness after the exhaling. And when we are inhaling, when we are for 4 seconds, we have like just holding the breath. Now that time just we will feel a stress, and after the exhale and that time we have to like feel that relaxation thing. And also there are techniques like 5 4 3 2 1 method, like notice 5 things that you see around, and identify the 4 things that you can touch or feel, and hear 3 sounds in your environment, and smell 2 scents, like notice 2 things that have distinct smells, and take 1 thing like a piece of gum or slip of water. I think this thing we can
Okay.
cut, because like I don't know how to explain this method actually. Like this is a practical side now. Like if I get like in person we can apply that, but I don't know. Like I think this box, these things when we suggest also, like I don't think like the person will be able to do it by themselves.
Actually, this exercises are very,
Yeah.
simple exercises everyone can do. Yeah,
Um,
and it will help a lot, I guess. Yes. So, how about someone supporting a loved one going through anxiety or trauma? What's one thing they can do to help without overstepping?
yeah, okay. So the one crucial thing a loved one can do is to listen without judgment.
Okay.
Okay, and validate their feeling. Like just being present, like give them your full attention. Like focus on what they're saying and show that you are not engaged. Like you are like listening to them properly, and validate their feeling. Like acknowledge their emotions, recognize how they are feeling, and show empathy, not sympathy. There is a huge difference between this. And avoid minimizing their experience. Like we might feel like it's a normal, or it's not that huge, like that we might feel, but for the person who is really experiencing this, it's not that easy for them. So avoid minimizing their experience. So
Okay.
refrain from saying like things like that it's not that bad, or just relax. This one works actually. Like we might feel like it's not that bad, but for the person it may really bad. And also, so to the encourage the openness, we can do like things like create a safe place, like making them feel more comfortable sharing their thoughts and feelings. And also we can ask like open-ended questions, like the to encourage the person to share more and ask questions that can be simply answered with a simple yes or no. Okay, so by being present and validating their feelings and encouraging openness, we can help your loved one to feel heard or and to feel them understood, which can be incredibly supportive during the difficult time. So these things we can focus on.
Okay, okay. So this has been so valuable. Before we let you go, for someone out there who is listening and feels like they are stuck, maybe overwhelmed by all three, what's one thing you would want to them hear right now?
So, as a psychologist, I would like to emphasize that healing is possible and you don't have to face it alone. Like, there are people like us to provide the help you needed. So, this stress, anxiety, and trauma can feel overwhelming, but there are many effective treatments that can, and support systems that are available right now. So, you can use those resources and, like, this survived, this thing is not that difficult, to cop or to come back from this or to being healing. This process might require time. It's not that not telling that's easy thing, that it require time, and depend on the time that record is depend on the person and the situation they are facing. So it's not that within one session or two sessions that things might not get back to the normal. This for some people that might require like 6 to 10 sessions. For some other they might
Yes.
it might take more or less. So it's not like it's an end. It's not just an end or something. There are like a huge possibility to come back more strong after going through these things. I know, so for a person who has experienced such a traumatic or distressing event in their life, they for that moment they might feel so low, or so it might be so difficult for them. But after taking a professional help and all, we can this recovery is possible. That is the key message I have to give you actually. This trust building stage and like all the stages have to go through the therapy. So it's from the therapy won't start from the first session. So for the first session, we'll be more focusing on the building the rapport and to build that communication, to build that trust with the client. So we might not engage in intervention plan for the first session, or the might for some clients might for the second session also, that we will be more focusing on building that actually. So the intervention part will start after that only. So expecting for an intervention plan for the first session is not a good tendency.
Correct, correct. Beautifully said, Vishnupriya. Thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom with us. So, for them who wants to book a session with you, where they can find you.
So from the past 1 year, I am working with MyndWynd team. So you can I'll be available on MyndWynd website mindwind.com and MyndWynd app, which you can download from Google Play or App Store. My availability and slot will be shown and mentioned there in the website.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much again. And that's it for today's episode for Soulful Talks. If today's conversation help you better understand what you are feeling or help you put words to something you couldn't explain, please consider sharing this episode with someone who might need it too. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. I'm Lakshmi Sahu and I will see you back here soon. Thank you so much and bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.